Glad to have you on. And hey, I want to talk Bo Pelini, but first, let's catch up with Kyle Williams. What are you up to now that you've retired from the NFL?
Well, I'm chasing kids and doing a little this, a little that. I'm actually working up at Ruston High School coaching football. Last year, I worked for the Buffalo Bills as a consultant, analyst type, and really wanted to get more involved with team. You know, my life's been involved with team for so long. I kind of missed that part of it, and I wasn't willing to move into the NFL as a career. So next stop was Ruston High School, which I'm excited about.
I was actually going to ask you before you even said that. I was going to ask you if you had plans to help out Ruston High School. I remember some of the battles that we had when you were at Ruston and I was at Evangel. Is that something you've always kind of had a passion for to try to get back into maybe the high school ranks?
I'm not going to say that, not necessarily. I think more than anything, my passion is about team and about people from all different places coming together, working together. That's kind of what I was passionate about in the college and the NFL and being in Buffalo so long. I didn't know how it was going to manifest itself. Obviously, the game's always been a big part of my life. I just didn't want to go down the NFL road. I had some job offers in the NFL, and having 5 kids and raising kids and all that, the NFL life isn't really conducive to it.
Right.
So the opportunity to come back to my hometown, really plug into the community here, and hopefully help generations of kids out is really something I'm excited about.
Catching up with Kyle Williams here on Hanging with Hester. All right, Kyle, I know in 2005 you played for Bo Pelini when he was the defensive coordinator. And kind of throughout the week, we've been having former guys on. We had Kelvin Shepard on yesterday. Craig Stelch has been on the station. We've kind of caught up with some of the other guys. I want to know from you, what did you think about Bo Pelini as a man and as a coach?
I love Bo, and I think Bo's going to be great for the university and for the players there. The main thing I remember about Bo when he first come in, we had come off a national championship in '03. We were number one in just about every statistical category you can imagine on defense. The next year, our team dipped a little bit, but we were really good defensively. And him coming in that spring and really challenging our effort, telling us we had more in the tank, we were going to give more, just really from the start challenging you in a very deep personal way to be better individually and be better collectively. And he was a great guy to kind of send my college career out with and playing for him. It was such a thrill. And I've always followed him very closely since because of the respect that I have for him.
Cal, if you had to kind of summarize Bo Pelini's plan on defense, what would you say it was?
I think for Bo is going to allow guys to use their God-given talents, because when you go to a place like LSU or some of these great universities with great programs, you're recruiting top-notch athletes, and Bo is going to put them in a position to use those gifts. He's going to teach them to play fundamentally sound and teach them things off of their fundamentals to load their gun, so to speak, so that they can play and be effective. Simple, play fast, play physical, and play with great energy and great effort.
Kyle, you played 13 years in the NFL. Coaches come, coaches go. We know Dave Aranda was kind of a professor, very quiet, kind of more of instruction and communication. And Bo Pelini's got a lot more fire and passion to him. What's the key when you come into a locker room, a team that's already had some success, to kind of getting everyone on board with you?
Well, I think for Bo has a great track record of defenses. And, some of these guys, I don't know if they will remember Bo or really know Bo. But if you go back and you look at the track record of players he's coached, defenses that he's been a part of, they've all been wildly successful. They've limited points. They've been physical. They've put guys into the NFL. It's a very NFL-based system. So I think guys will get excited about him. And Bo is going to be his own man. He's going to come in, and he's going to put his mark on that defense, and it's going to be up to those guys to respond.
Kyle, a lot of people asking the question, LSU's been a 3-4 team the last couple of years under Dave Aranda. Obviously, Bo Pelini is a 4-3 guy. And like Hunt said, you've played for many coaches and probably changed systems as far as what this coach liked to what that coach liked. How big of a deal would it be if Bo came in and started to implement some of this 4-3 stuff with 3-4 recruits?
Well, I think that the 3-4 4-3 recruit. From high school to college, they're putting those guys in places to play different things. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal because LSU's recruiting the best of the best. They're recruiting the top echelon of kids to come in. Whether these guys are stand-up outside linebackers or whether you put their hand on the ground and play them as a down defensive end, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think you're going to see more attacking, more up-the-field type of defense. In which I think will be conducive to the talent level they have at LSU, and it should be something everybody's excited to see.
Now, when you played at LSU, it was just physical, defensive football teams that won championships. I look at LSU and what they were this year on offense, the Clemson team they played, and then I look at the Super Bowl with the Chiefs and 49ers with what they do. And, of course, those teams have some talented defense, but it seems to me that offense is kind of carrying the day. What's your overall thought on that on either one of the levels?
You trying to get Kyle mad here on the radio?
Look, I'm just asking.
No, listen, I've played in the NFL long enough. I understand what gets everybody excited. You go to an NFL training camp, you have 3 guys run by a quarterback who would have hit him in the mouth, but they complete that late ball over the middle for 15 yards, and everybody goes, yay! I understand that. I think there's an ebb and flow to all of it. I think you see offenses are going to build up, and then maybe you'll have a defensive football team that'll rise to the occasion. I would be very careful to not upset somebody on that 49ers team and tell them that they're an offensive-based football team. They've got a really talented defense that can get after the passer, but it takes all kinds. That's why it's a team game. Some days you're going to be down on offense and you're going to have to pick them up on defense and vice versa.
Kyle, I want to ask you about this national championship LSU football team that we just saw. I mean, the offensive numbers they put up were historic, and then the defense kind of caught up with it. And a lot of people talked about, the defense is struggling. I think that the defense had to figure out how to play with this offense because, as you know, when you played at LSU, when I played at LSU, it was going to be a tough, nasty, physical defense. You were going to run the football, control the clock, and you were going to win games 21-14. That was always the goal. And it completely changed this year. How was it watching that brand of LSU football?
It was exciting. It was a lot of fun to watch. I think it's a little bit like the Chiefs. I think watching them, you're like, hey, no matter from series to series how it's going, you always feel like they were going to catch their stride. You always felt like, hey, early in the Clemson game, in the national championship game, maybe it didn't start off the way they wanted to, but you always had full confidence in what they could do. Listen, when you have the skill people that LSU has, you have the quarterback that they had, you can put some people defensively in some very tough positions. You can't cover it all. You can't help this guy out, not help that guy out. You have to cover the whole field. But it was a lot of fun to watch. And we're talking about arguably the best college football team of all time.
Kyle, one more for here. Let's talk about real sports now. We're done with football. We're going to go to golf.
Oh, here we go.
Your favorite golf course you ever played?
Augusta National.
And I thought that was the case. What's your low round there?
75, I think.
That'll play.
Isn't it funny? So we have Kyle Williams on, played in the NFL for 13 years, 6 Pro Bowls, all these things, one of my favorite teammates, and we've got questions that I'm getting texted right now asking what his current handicap is. That's what people want to know.
That's what I want to know.
So, Hunt wants to know, everybody wants to know, Kyle, what's the current handicap?
Plus 0.9.
Oh, you love to see it. giving a lot of strokes out.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Now I haven't played since August, so that's probably a little off base now. But when I'm playing, I can get it going.
Oh, you get to Squire Creek, and it will just be like you never left. Hey, Kyle, man, I do really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. I love the fact that you're back in the community in Ruston, helping the Bearcats there. Tell Jill I said hello. Give the best to the kids.
Will too, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, there he is, Kyle Williams, man. 13 years in the NFL, 6 Pro Bowls. Kyle was one of those guys
6 Pro Bowls? No, who cares? You're talking about 75 at Augusta.
That's pretty salty, by the way.
Playing.
Kyle's one of the guys, like, when I got to LSU, I'm like, dude, this is a grown man. And he was only a sophomore, I believe, at the time, and he was just one of those guys that he was intense. It didn't matter if it was a walkthrough, if it was a 9-on-7, if it was North Texas, or if it was Florida. He had the same intensity, and that's why he was one of the greatest Buffalo Bills of all time.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. They love him up there, and that's. I'm certain that if you ask Kyle, he would say he wouldn't want to play anywhere else. Just love Buffalo, love the people, the environment, the organization. But the fact of the matter is the weather's terrible and they didn't win much of anything. But he was a heck of a player for a long time there. And finally, towards the end there, they had some really good teams.
I think getting to the playoffs meant a lot to Kyle. To get that team to the playoffs for the first time in a very long time, I think that meant a lot to him. And I did know he was coaching there for the Bills. I had no idea he was coming back to Ruston. Can you imagine, like, the knowledge that he can help with those kids in Ruston? And I'll tell you a quick story. I know we're long for a break. When I was at Evangel, a lot of people think that, we were good because we had the best athletes. Now, we had some good athletes, don't get me wrong, but it was because of our coaching. That's why we were so good. We had, guys that were coordinators at Northeast. We had guys that were coordinators at Louisiana Tech. We had guys that played in the NFL. My father-in-law, Pat Tilley, who played 11 seasons for the St. Louis Cardinals. That was our receivers coach in high school. That was the reason that we were so good, and Kyle's going to be able to help that team. That's awesome that he's back there in the community in the 318.